What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Taylor Hinton Speaks His Mind, number one online health and fitness podcast in the world. I'm here with my wife, Angela, and it is Form Friday, and we are going to review our client's technique. We've got a lot of videos to go through. Angela's got to cut early, and
9:15.
I might have to cut early too. We'll see. I got a client. We're seeing what we can do on her end to get things set up. In the meantime, here we go. Got Lift and Learn up and ready to go. We got a lot of videos to get through, so we're going to get right into it. Okay. So, first is always, we kind of do in reverse order because it just, makes sense in terms of the way that we're scrolling. Jesse, nice to see you getting everything in here. Pin squats 3 times at 145. Just want to say, first off, right out of the gates, quads looking jacked. I know that's a huge priority for you. Also, foot health. Nice. Great arch. Okay, let's do it. Okay. Jesse, what's up? Welcome in to just join the call. So I want to start off with the setup, getting ourselves unracked. Now, it's not the end of the world, but actually, no, this is exactly how I want you to do it. That's right, stepping back out of it. It looks backwards to me, but you're doing it right. Okay. Positioning on the back looks good. You got a high bar position, pulling the bar down onto your back. Nice. Little too many steps to get yourself set up. We'd like to just see 1, 2 steps back and then in position. Is this your home gym, Jesse?
It is, yeah.
Dang.
Badass. So you're just taking a couple more steps than you need to. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a little shimmy. We could just take one less. It's just going to save you a touch more energy for the squat.
Okay.
I'd like to see that weight not rest, but come to a dead stop. The first couple, the last rep looked the best, but the first couple reps
hmm
looked like yeah, it's kind of bouncing off of the rack ever so slightly.
hmm
And what would you add?
Yeah, these are tough just because, it's the same kind of a similar thing with the box squat. It's like, okay, we don't want to actually sit on the box. We just want to touch the box. But with pin squats, you almost want to let, like Taylor said, let it rest. You're still going to have all the tension built up in your body. Let it fully rest, and then you're
hmm
going to shoot back up. So maybe there's going to be some weight that's taken off your back because obviously it's on top of the pins.
hmm
But overall, you would really just want to keep that tension and then just explode out from the bottom. Otherwise, like this looks really good. And
Okay.
yeah, I don't know, Taylor, about like, do you have a certain height set for the pins or?
This is pretty much exactly where we want it. I like it.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, I do too. I definitely do. Um, yeah, it definitely takes a lot out of you, these ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
But
set
no.
is this, Jesse?
I think that was it my second or third?
Okay. And
I,
how many sets do you have total on this one?
that one, I think I have two warm up and then five working sets.
Yeah, cool. So you're spending a good amount of time in here.
Yeah.
If you need to, just remember to make sure you're giving yourself some extra rest, right?
hmm
Like, what do we have in there for rest? 3 minutes?
3 minutes, yeah.
If you need to, like, rest 4 minutes, rest 5 minutes. Like, that might
Okay.
be if you find yourself stuck at this 145-ish
hmm
weight, then
hmm
by all means, give yourself a little bit more rest.
Okay.
And the only reason why I say that is because I'm seeing like a little bit more fatigue.
hmm
Nothing like obviously it's a heavy weight. It's 3 repetitions. Like I get that, obviously.
hmm
I think that you have a bit more explosive energy in you if you were to give yourself a bit more rest sometimes. So maybe try doing
hmm
that too. But
Okay,
otherwise,
sounds good.
pretty good. I like it.
Okay,
Mhm.
sweet. Thank you.
Yeah. Any questions on this?
Nope. Nope.
Cool. Cool. Cool.
Thank you
Cool.
guys.
You're very
You're
welcome.
welcome.
Thanks for popping in. Okay, we've got Andrew. Jesse, do you have other videos in here?
I don't think I have any other ones in
Yeah.
there.
No worry. I would skip to them if you were
hmm
if you did, but we'll keep going in order. Okay. Andrew, here's the video you wanted in my barbell sumo deadlift block pull. Should I get a belt and go heavier?
Hmm.
So yeah, real quick for everybody who is still trying to figure out straps. I know there's a couple of people who are trying to figure out straps. Your hand goes on one side of the bar, the strap starts on the other side of the bar and then wraps underneath it. Okay. For anybody who's like, when I use straps, I feel like it's even harder to grip. It's because you're putting the strap on the same side as your palm on the bar, and that is counterintuitive. So just take a look just how he's wrapping this.
I've also made some great tutorials myself.
And Angela has some great tutorials. Where are they?
They're on my Instagram.
Everyone go scroll for a million hours to go find them. No, we've got a few things that Angela and I had just finished up some goal setting stuff for this year, and we're going to be making quite a few updates to every, not just adding things to resources, but also just making some updates to what we have in there. So hold on a second. Yeah, this is the block pull. Okay, good. So we got the block pull. Sumo. Okay, fine. Take these dang shoes off, dog. These big
Yep.
old freaking running shoes. We don't need that, right? The more, look at this, your toe is literally off the ground. So anybody watching this, like when you're doing heavy compound exercises, particularly squats, deadlifts, and any variations of those, barefoot or barefoot shoes, or, you know, quote unquote, like worst case scenario might be Converse or Vans, like flat footed shoes that have no support, no foam slash cushion. That's best for doing these heavy lifts. Because if you are trying to lift and you have a bunch of foamy shoe cushioning underneath, one like this, he's got these cross trainers, which are, technically supposed to be good for everything, but they're just not perfect at any one thing. Um, Take them off when you're lifting because your toe is off the ground. Like you can't generate enough force into the ground. And even when you do, like when you do push when you're lifting, when you're doing your squats and your deadlift, you should be thinking about pushing the earth away from you, right? That's how we are generating as much force as we can. It's not lifting the weight off the ground, it's pushing the earth away from you. And I think that's a good mental visualization, especially when it comes to having a nice, strong back and making sure that your core is intact. Because if you're thinking of lifting the weight off the ground, then all of a sudden most people's hips shoot up, their back's rounded, and they have back pain. So push the earth away from you. But these foamy shoes, when you're trying to push the earth away, you're not, whatever force your legs are able to generate. Let's imagine your legs are able to generate, say, 400 pounds of force into the floor. That foam is absorbing so much of that force. So your 400 pounds of force translates to like 320 pounds, as a little estimate. But just keep that in mind. And then we need to pull the slack out of the bar first before we do that lift, Andrew. You are going from dead stop right now, all the weights in the ground, okay? And then you're going right from here into immediate, wow, everything in your hands all at once. We want to take the weight, we want to pull the slack out of the bar, make tension in the bar, and then pull the weight off the ground. You're leaning back too far at the top. Right here is good, or maybe it's a touch more. All right, let's see if I can, like, I wish that EverFit would stop when I want it to stop. Like, there, done. You've completed the rep right there, and then watch this. You want a good back injury? Do this. Whoop! Crank your neck, crank your low back like that. It doesn't give you any extra glute gains. It doesn't make you any stronger. The only thing that it does is it increases your fatigue because you're spending way more time up top, and it is putting a ton of pressure on your L5S1 on your discs. We don't need that shit. And what would you add to this?
My turn. All right. Yeah, first off, the shoes need to go. Andrew, you're a pretty tall dude from what I remember. So move the plates that are resting on the ground out more. Because right now your toes are pretty straightforward. In a sumo deadlift, you want your toes facing out. Like even a 45-degree angle is completely fine. Just because that's where your knees are gonna go, that's where like your legs are pointing, so you want your feet to follow. So that's number one. Number two is your hands might be a little bit narrow. That comes down to preference, I think. But yeah, like with the whole slack of the bar thing, totally a good point Taylor's making. What I like to do is before I even lift the weight, I have my hips up. And so I'm grabbing onto the bar. I do reverse grip, so I do this. I grab onto the bar with my hips up and my back is flat. So from there, I brace. I pull the slack out of the bar. You'll hear that click. And then now that the slack's out of the bar, I get my butt into position. So as I have the slack, this is the bar, this is my butt. As I pull the slack out of the bar, now I'm lowering my butt, and therefore there's even more slack being pulled out because I'm kind of pulling with my arms at the same time. It's just like I'm kind of mentally thinking I'm rotating everything. So now all this tension is built up. I can hardly talk. I can hardly breathe. I'm probably like shaking if I stay there for a few more seconds. And then from there, I'm going to drive through the floor. That's the mental things that I like to think of. So, yeah, I would just try different ways for you to pull the slack out of the bar. Like I said, I like to have my hips up, pull that bar, and then get into position. But yeah, the shoes for sure, and also the slack, and move the plates out a little bit more so you can point your feet out.
Yep. Andrew, no, you do not need a belt to go heavier. We need to get your technique right first. Okay, so let's keep sending these videos in. I want to keep seeing it. I don't want you to go any heavier than this. Do not add any more weight. Forget whatever notes that I have in there for you. Just keep sticking with this weight. If anything, maybe you just go down to the 225. So strip the yellow plates off. Let's work on pulling the slack out first,
I
right?
also want to see a side view.
Yeah, let's see a side view of that. And like a good way, think about this when we talk about pulling the slack out of the bar. Imagine you've got a truck and you're towing a trailer with a rope. If you had that rope or a chain, right? If you had that
Mm.
chain and that chain was like a 30-foot chain, but you only had your truck like 5 feet away from that trailer, what would happen if you just punched the gas, pedal to the metal? You'd break that chain, you'd fuck up your truck, the trailer would be torn apart. What is pulling the slack out? You just take your foot off of the brake and let the truck roll forward until that chain is nice and tight. And then you gently accelerate forward so that you have that tension. That's pulling the slack out. You right now you are just slamming your foot on the floor and busting the chain every time. And that's going to cause a lot of elbow pain. That could throw your shoulder out, your back. Literally, so many things could go wrong with this. If you're lifting heavy enough weight, this people like tear their bicep or pull their bicep, and you see those nasty videos of those biceps all of a sudden like shrinking up into, like a half the
Ew.
size of a normal one, and dudes, are freaking out and everything. Like that's what
Let me
this
use the side
leads
view.
to if you're like, oh, I need to just lift heavier. Let me get a belt and keep doing what I'm doing. So let's work on that first. Okay.
That's a great analogy also. Cool, we have a side view.
So the first thing Ange and I are looking at here is, go ahead, Ange. What is the very first thing you're looking at with his position before he lifts his
I'm
weight?
looking at where the barbell is in comparison to his body. That's what I'm gonna look at.
Exactly. Is this bar going to be touching your shin? Or do you have this? Are you going to lift from right here with this bar 3 inches away from your shins? If so, the further this bar is away from your body, the more the weight transfers from your glutes up to your back, low back. You have it way out in front of you here. You're going to have to be pulling and feeling it from here. So right now, if you were to pull from here, you're going to feel this right here in your lower back.
It is hard to tell though. We'll see with how.
Okay,
Okay, there we
go.
go. Pulling it
Looking
back.
better, bringing the bar nice and close. Oh, where are we going? See, watch this,
Okay.
Andrew.
Yeah.
We can see it right away because as soon as you take the weight off the ground, watch what this barbell does. Does it go straight up and down like a Smith machine, or does it swing towards your body? Right there. It's pulling into your body. You need to have that. And then look at your toe, look at your heels. I mean, part of this is the shoe, but also I can tell that your weight is on at least the balls of your feet right now. And that's because you started with the weight out in front of you. So when you're doing, especially with the sumo, it's almost unavoidable, everybody. This bar is going to scrape your shins. 100% your knees and your shins are going to be raw when you're done doing this exercise. If you don't want that, wear pants that you're okay with getting torn up. Wear some freaking jeans. I don't care. Or get
No,
yourself
don't
some
wear jeans.
sleeves. Wear some freaking jeans. Badass. Yeah, you're on your toes. The bar's out in front of you too much. You're grip and ripping with this one. So let's take a look at this. I want to show you this. We're gonna go down to quarter speed. So now this bar is resting. Okay, so that's the other thing too, is let that bar rest. Let it totally rest before you pull it again. It's still kind of bouncing around, right? You're bouncing around, bouncing. Okay, sorry. It's still bouncing around on the ground before you lift it back up. Watch. It's still bouncing here, and then you're ripping it off the ground again. Let's go back to your first rep. Where is that first rep? Right here? Yeah, good. Okay. So you're in what looks like a good position, but the bar is too far in front of you. Let's see what we do here. You're very relaxed. You're in a good position. It looks good, but there's no tension in your body. Pull the slack out of the bar, and you're going to feel your back, your glutes, your hamstrings, your quads. Every muscle in your body is going to light up. You want to feel all the muscles working before you pull the weight off the ground. So watch this. When you start to yank it, here you go. You're about to pull the slack out right now. Right now, you have tension in your body because you are ready to rip this bar off the ground. So you have tension in your body. No slack is pulled out of the bar. Right there, slack is now pulled out of the bar. Right here, this moment is when you feel the weight, but the weight is still resting on the ground. You need this before you intend to pull the weight off the ground. From here, now the bar, with it being nice and close to your shins and a little bit more weight on the back of your feet, even pressure, you have too much on the front. From here, you spread the floor with your feet, you lock your knees out and thrust your hips forward and finish right here. That's the stop. That's the ending position. But I'm sure, and I don't even remember watching it from the side view, but if you did it like you did in the front view, you're going to lean back even more, putting a ton of pressure on your low back. Yep. All of that. That's pain and injury, pain and injury, pain and injury. And if I was a bad coach, I would say, yeah, dude, let's get to 315, 3 plates, dude. And then you put on a back, you put on a belt, thinking that you're stronger than you are, and end up hurting yourself. So let's keep getting these videos in. I hope that was really helpful. That was a lot of depth there for you. I don't know if we can go any deeper, Ange.
Quick question. I was just looking at the reviews that we have to go over. Last Friday, 8:35 a.m. Taylor, did you review that one or no?
I
Like,
don't know.
okay. I know we didn't do it last week. I was just wondering if you privately did it.
I don't know. We'll figure it out when I get there, I guess.
Okay.
So we've got Brittany, and this is her deadlift. Okay. It's not a Romanian deadlift. I asked her already. And so there's some things that you're doing really good here. I think you're doing an okay job of pulling the slack out of the bar, but you're leaving your hips back too much. Like this is a conventional like standard barbell deadlift. So the other thing too is that like you are strong. Like you've got some good just foundational strength in you right now. There's a few things here that I'm gonna let Angela take over on this one because she's gonna be able to like say it better than me and explain it better and catch some things better. But one thing I will say for sure is you need to stop lowering the weight down so slow. You're fatiguing yourself doing this. All this energy, bringing it down slow. Like honestly, if it makes it easier for you mentally, once you get up here, literally drop the weight and step away from it and then walk back over to it and reset. I don't want you to spend any energy lowering this weight. This is a pure strength exercise. Okay, Ange.
Drop it while it's still in your hands, also, by the way. All right, let's start back from the start of the start. All right. So first things first, it looks like you're leaning a little bit too far forward. It looks like the weight is farther up on the front of your foot than the midfoot. Hard to tell from this angle, but now you can play. As soon as that bar is just about to come to your knees, you allow it to kind of go out and around, or you push your knees back a little bit.
Yeah,
So
she's
it's
great
uncomfortable.
techniques.
Yeah, so it's uncomfortable, but you'll have to have that bar scraping your legs the entire time. I like to wear sweatpants when I deadlift because my shins get so fucked up, like uncomfortable. There's like, yeah, they're bruised, they're nasty the next day. So I like to wear pants, like I kind of have to. But that being said, once it gets past your knees, I want you to act like you're doing a hip thrust. I want you to act like you are driving your hips forward. I think on the second rep, it shows the most. Your hips are still pretty high. So let's see here. So after the knees, you're still just kind of lifting with your back. You're not shooting your hips through. All right. So right here is where I want you to think you have a band attached from the back of you and it's pulling you forward and you're like trying to thrust your hips forward. So that's what it should feel like from right here all the way up.
Yeah, like if you had a one of those big super bands and it was wrapped around your waist and tied to a pole behind you and you had to thrust it forward, that's the kind
Mhm.
of thing she's talking about right now.
Yeah. And something that I really like to program in my clients is, and I really like to do myself, is banded Romanian deadlifts so that you can really feel your glutes working at the top of that exercise. Because you're like, I'll give it to clients who have not not that this is an issue or anything, Brittany, but who have weaker glutes or who struggle with the top range of their deadlift, I'll give them that band exercise. You can even do this with no weight. Like you can do that banded RDL with no weight. Just have it as a warm up, have it attached to your hips behind you. So then all you're doing is like thrusting forward. So then you feel your glutes working. You know the feeling it's supposed to you know what the feeling's supposed to be like when you are at the top of the exercise. But overall, like Taylor said, you're very strong. You have some great strength already. It's just about perfecting certain things. You see how the bar kind of wiggles right there on that last rep? Or I guess the second last rep. This one. It kind of wiggles away from you. I want you to keep that bar as close as possible and then thrust your hips forward. But looks
Yeah,
really good overall. You're strong for sure.
you start off in a deadlift position, but you're like trying to turn it into an RDL. And I don't know if that's because you're trying to avoid your legs getting scraped or because naturally you feel stronger in the RDL position or not, but you got to keep that bar nice and close to your body. The bar is like doing all this wiggling up and down. Like between that and you lowering it slowly, you're spending so much energy that you don't need to. It's like you're fatiguing yourself almost twice as much as you need to, which is kind of exciting to know because it just goes to show that you're even stronger than you think. Like the fact
Totally.
that you are lifting whatever that was, it looked like
75 or
175 or
something.
something like that, with suboptimal, we'll call it technique, is pretty impressive. So I think that you're pretty damn close to two plates, for at least one if you get that technique right. Okay. This is her kettlebell swing. This is the second time that she's sent over a video. I reviewed one privately for her before, and this looks way better. The biggest piece of criticism that I had for you was get that kettlebell high and tight to the zipper. This is what so many people do wrong when they're doing their kettlebell swings, is they will let that kettlebell like swing way down below their knees. When you're doing a kettlebell swing, the way to do it as efficiently and as powerfully as possible is to keep that bell as tight to your zipper as you possibly can. We call the zipper basically your groin. Okay. So that's what she's doing way better here. She's keeping her shoulder blades retracted, which is shortening that distance. She's not bending her knees too fast. She's allowing that bell to swing down first. And she's only really bending her knees when the bell's between her legs, basically behind her. This little tiny bend right here is just enough between that and hips sent back the way that they are right now. There is so much tension in her body right now that when she snaps her knees straight and she thrusts her hips forward, if she let go of that kettlebell, it would literally fly and hit the other side of the wall, the other side of the room. And that's what we want. We want to be able to throw that weight up so hard and so fast with your knees and with your hips that weight feels effortless. It feels weightless in your hands. You should be able at the top of this, I was going to say Whitney, sorry, Brittany, you should be able to let go and grab that weight again in the middle of like at the very top of that swing and not feel a thing. The other thing that's really cool about this, and it's hard to catch because the video starts really fast, but she's not grabbing the weight, standing up, and then swinging it back and swinging it forward. She's doing it efficiently. She has that kettlebell out in front of her toes. She starts by having her hips, oh, dang. She has her hips back. All she did was barely stand up a touch, so the weight had to come off the ground. It naturally, because it started in front of her, swung to her zipper, and now she's in the perfect position for her first rep. Boom, right there. Efficient, fast, powerful. This is really, really good. I like it. It's going to feel easier with heavier weight because the more weight that you add at this point, the more technically sound you're going to need to be. And it's going to feel like you have this rhythmic beat to it. And that's awesome. So nice job.
Yeah, looks super powerful. Awesome.
Emmy, first form video, dumbbell Romanian deadlifts at 35 pounds a hand. That's good. Let's take a look and see what we got. Emmy is pretty freaking new. She's about a month and a half, 2 months in. All right. General overview to start is great. I like it. Good pause at the bottom. This is like her first, I think it's her first week, first or second week in her first actual strength program. We started off with foundations, which is essentially just movement literacy. And now we are at the very beginning of her starting to lift heavy. And I say heavy with quotations because this is obviously not a max effort for her yet, but she's got 6 to 8 weeks of building this weight up and intensity up over time. So I think this is an appropriate weight to start at, Emmy. And
Hmm.
within the next 6 to 8 weeks, this weight should be much, much heavier with the same rep range. I think that in short time, you'll be getting yourself up to 50 pounds per hand. I'm noticing a little bit of a shrug at the top here. Okay. And that happens naturally because when we're not thinking about the movement as much as we're thinking about the pattern, then we're looking at the exercise or thinking about the exercise as basically moving the weight from point A to point B. Okay. And we want to get away from that because we want to focus on what are the muscles that are trying to move the weight rather than what how does it look, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Basically, it's like it's less about moving the weight from point A to point B and more about how are you moving the weight, right? So lock those armpits down so that your back is nice and tight and strong and keep them down no matter where you are in the movement. When you're down here, armpits down to the hips. When you're coming back up, armpits down to the hips. When you're at the top, armpits down to the hips. See all this movement? You have your shoulders kind of shrugging and rolling around and stuff like that. That's going to make this weight feel a lot heavier in your hands. To get your body really, really tense. Your entire body, when you're lifting heavy weights, needs to be tense, tense, tense the entire time. And
Yeah, overall, this looks really good, especially for, I don't know if this is your first time ever doing a Romanian deadlift or what, but Romanian deadlifts are so hard to perfect. I feel like when people first start out with RDLs, they do not know the movement pattern. So the fact that you already have this movement pattern pretty much down is awesome.
yeah, overall, it's like I said, first impressions, it's like, okay, cool, that's great. It's just
Yeah.
make your body really tense, lock the shoulders down, and then
Mhm.
challenge it. It's just pick up next time you do this exercise. I mean, just grab two 50-pound dumbbells and pick them up and just stand with them for a second. And you won't even have to think about trying to tense your body up. Your body's just going to tense up so that you don't literally collapse onto the ground. And then
Mhm.
apply that same level of tension to weights that are lighter, regardless of how light they are, move them like they are very, very, very heavy weights. There was a
Heck yeah.
comment here. Let's just make sure. Oh, it's okay. Jess, we got a lot of videos here. Now these are all supposed to be, I believe, her last set. Maybe try to come back to that. Uh-oh.
Front row. Okay.
Try to come back to those in a sec. So this definitely would be a shoulder press, okay? And this is really good weight.
Hmm.
Can you hear the audio?
I heard one
Okay.
puppy. This is great. Good effort.
This is like a little bit of an aside. I mean, like this is totally like you're a grown adult and everything. That dog's head is right underneath your weights, and if you happen to drop that, like, it could be scary. This looks good. I mean, I don't know if I have any feedback. As long as this is a freaking shoulder press, God forbid this is an incline press, like a chest exercise, because it's way too high of an incline, obviously, right? Um, it looks like your wrists are bent back a lot. It's hard to tell from right here, but it looks like it kind of looks like you have the weight more towards the top of your palm, which means that your wrist would be bent back a ton. Make sure that you got that weight more in the thickness, the bottom of your palm, right? So that you can, instead of having your knuckles bent back, your knuckles should be more pointing straight up into the sky. Essentially, what we're trying to do is stack your joints. When your joints are stacked, everybody, you're strong and powerful. When your joints are out of alignment, you're going to be weaker and you have to use more muscle versus like the structure of your body to move the weight. When it comes to building muscle, it's not just about moving the weight, it's about using the structure of your anatomy to lift as much weight as you possibly can. So stack the wrists so that when at the top of this exercise, right up here, what we're looking for is wrist, elbow, shoulder to be stacked, right? And if your wrist is bent back, you're going to feel a lot weaker and it's just going to hurt your wrist straight up. The effort looks good. I like the positioning. Range of motion, I think, makes sense given the amount of weight that
Mhm.
you're lifting. Like we could say, hey, like, you got to bring those weights down all the way till you touch your shoulder. And I've said that a million times before for virtually everybody else. But I know that we're really trying to push the weights a little bit heavier. And honestly, sometimes it's okay to do that if it means that you're able to squeeze out a couple more reps with some super heavy weight.
Yeah, I think this is great. As long as it's the shoulder press.
As long as it's a shoulder press. So this looks like we're using a lot of momentum. Basically, like you get to the top and the weights are swinging right back down. Right from here to here, there's no tension in the muscle. It's all just momentum, right? So basically, what we're looking at is you actually lifting the weight like with your muscles from here to here. And then even so, once you get to the top there, it's like this, you're using a lot of swinging and momentum. There's a lot of like using your upper body to do it. So the thing is like this is your last set, right? It's supposed to be really hard, and I don't need your technique to be perfect on exercises like this, but I do need it to be very hard, and I need you to feel a lot of tension in your shoulders. So if you're feeling a lot of tension in your shoulders and you're taking it to failure, then it looking quote unquote sloppy or bad technique or swinging the weight around a little bit, like I can deal with that
Hmm.
as long as you're able to progress it. Okay. And you're supersetting this with a cable bicep curl. This looks good too. Again, like there's we could be the most critical coaches and critique every little tiny thing when it comes to technique. But at the end of the day, if you have, oh yeah, we got a triple.
Holy,
Yeah.
what are
Like,
you doing there, coach?
we're trying to operate on an extremely tight window
Fair.
to look at. Um, yeah, again, at the end of the day, like if you're pushing yourself and putting a ton of effort in there, there's a million people in the gym who have no idea what they're doing, but they just are consistent as fuck and they push themselves so hard, just straight up meathead mentality, and they look incredible. And it's just because they just don't fucking stop. They're just consistent. They've been doing it for years and years and years. So all of that to say, Jess, is like go for it. On little arm exercises and shit like that, just fucking rip it. The more critical stuff that we're going to be focusing on is going to be these compounds. This
Hmm.
is where the technique is going to matter a hell of a lot more. So this is for everybody who has their feet kicked out in front of them all the time when they're benching. This is good. Have your feet underneath you. Okay. Sebastian Oreb, the number one strength coach in the world, would say to have the base of your foot should be at a 45-degree angle with the floor. So your foot looks like it's basically flat on the floor. He would say to bring your feet back more so that basically just your toes or your the ball of your foot is touching the ground, and then your heel is up at a 45-degree angle. That'll help you generate a little bit more power, a little bit more force. Didn't feel comfy with that one. This looks way better with your wrist. See how your knuckles are pointed straight up? See how your wrists are stacked with your elbow with your shoulder? She also has a nice arch in her back. She has her scapula retracted. This right now looks like almost a technically perfect bench press.
Oh
It
yeah.
honestly looks really, really good.
I like also when she goes down, she's not caving in. A lot of people will cave in as soon as they go down. She's keeping her chest nice and puffed the whole time.
Yeah. You got to keep your glutes on the bench. Looks like your hips are coming up off the bench. But honestly, Jess, this looks really good.
Yeah.
And what is this? That's got to be 95 plus another 5 and 2.5, maybe. It looks like 5 and 2.5. Which would be another 15. So what are we looking at? 110 on bench press for three? All right, I'll take it with no
That's
spotter.
awesome.
Savage.
I like where your the rack height is set up too.
Yeah, that was
Rack
good.
height as well as the safeties.
Smart. No dying here.
SMRT.
Don't crush your puppy's face. Those dumbbells. Jeez.
Can you full screen it? Thanks, yo. I love this exercise.
Do you have any feedback for her on this one? It looks weird to me the way she's doing it, but I'm kind of stuck.
Can we start again? I like the stretch. You might be pulling back, I was gonna say a little bit far back to your hip, but if you feel your back working, like you can see your back working also. Maybe it's a little bit fast.
Yeah, it just the tempo is like kind of throwing me off. It looks like you're finding it almost looks like the same rhythmic tempo that I want to see with a kettlebell swing. Like you're bringing the weight up, bringing the weight back down. Like there's a bit too much rhythm and momentum I feel like that's happening with this, but
And I think that's totally fine, like you said with the shoulder raises. I think it's totally fine to have some of that momentum near the end of your set to really get that last few reps in, but really start having that control like from the very beginning to as far into the exercise as you can. And if that means you need to do the last 3 reps with some momentum at the bottom and doing your little like shrug thing that you do like this, totally fine.
you know what I just realized it is, Jess? It's when you bring the weight back down, you're using that stretch. There's a technical term that we use, and it's more used in like athletic bouts of training where you're not going for athleticism with this one, you're going for like building muscle. So like it's this basically like using the tension that comes from the stretch of the muscle and using it as kind of like a rebound to then sling the weight back up. And
Mhm.
that's what you're doing is when that weight comes back down for you, right here, boom, you're like, okay, cool, I've got all this tension and bam, it's like an elastic band snapping it back. Great
Mhm.
for getting really efficient with doing a ton of reps, really poor for muscle building. So all this means for you is make sure that when you bring this weight down here, come to a dead stop. Let
Mhm.
that weight totally rest. Because the way that you're doing it, let's imagine this is like 40 pounds, you're lifting like 32 pounds because of how you're doing this rhythmic bouncing at the bottom.
Like a
Let the
pendulum or something.
let that weight come to a dead stop and then start pulling again so that every time you pull, it's 40 pounds. Ha, I'm a genius figuring that part out. Okay. We got all that done. Truly. Okay. These looked so much freaking better. She sent these to me personally first. I did not review them for her. Andrew, this is where we're going to need to take a look at how she pulls the slack out. I believe she did it correctly this time. Okay.
And watch how everyone watch how she's putting the bar down. She's just kind of like
Yeah.
kind of slamming it down. Not
Brittany, this is huge for
purposely.
you. Look at how she's just dropping the weight back down. No wasted energy. So, big thing that we were helping Truly with was her hip positioning, and this just looks so much better.
It looks so much better.
Like that's where your hips need to be every time. Like you've nailed the hip position now, Truly, okay?
Oh yeah.
Fucking nailed the hip position. Next step for you, Truly, is going to be making sure you're giving yourself enough rest. So I think I'm giving you 3 minutes, so 3.5. I think she actually at 3.5. So if you need another second of rest so that you can add another 2.5 pounds each side, then do it because this looks really clean. You should feel very confident with how your technique is. And
Doggy.
well, see that right there? This is Emmy. This is what I want you to look at. Watch her shoulders. So right now she's relaxed. Watch these shoulders snap back. Right there. You just pulled that bar. She's basically using that. She's trying to break that bar like a pair of chopsticks.
Yep, so much more solid, truly.
Way better. Good breathing. This is the valgus maneuver. The only person who I know for sure should not be doing this is Jeff. Everybody else, the valgus, right? No, not the salva,
What are
saliva.
you talking about?
The maneuver with your diaphragm where you hold your breath.
A brace?
It says V something. It's a specific term.
Oh,
Taking that big breath into your diaphragm, holding it, and then blowing it out halfway up or at the top. That's fine too. Very deliberate with her breath. That is where your power comes from, everybody. If you are worried about people looking at you because of how you're breathing and stuff, you are
mhm.
literally leaving gains on the table. You're going into the gym, spending all this time, sweating your ass off, pushing yourself real hard to get minimal progress because you're unwilling to breathe hard. Breathe hard and heavy. Yes, we get it. She's at her own home gym, whatever. I know for a fact if Truly went to a real gym, like a fucking public gym, she wouldn't give a shit because she's here to get better. And I think that's the same, those two videos. Great job on that.
Yep.
You got to get going here pretty soon. I know that. Uh,
Yeah, 3 minutes.
so whenever you do, that's cool. Uh,
Cool.
barbell RDL, this is supposed to
Also, everyone get angry. Get angry at the bar before these big lifts.
totally, yeah.
Yep.
That was supposed to be in the mix soap videos I send you. Jess, I cannot say it enough. Please stop voice texting. Or if you do, edit it before you send it. Okay, what do we got? What do we got? This she said RDL.
Yep.
So this is again, Emmy, take a look at this with the shoulders right there. And then you hear that, everybody? You hear that click of the weights? Andrew, this is for you. That's the tension. Pull the slack out of the bar. You should feel that. Now, Jess told me about her shoes. She has orthotics. She needs to wear them, otherwise her feet are all fucked up. So that's fine. Do what you got to do. This is some heavy ass weight. She's moving it quick. That's good.
All right, I gotta go.
Okay, see you later. Thanks.
Hey, bye.
So this is awesome. It's a lot of reps too. Heavy, fast, intense. Great job. Great freaking job. I have literally no feedback for you. Keep pushing yourself really, really hard. It's hard to not make progress when you push yourself super hard. You could you could have somebody who's technically perfect with their exercise, but if they're only, giving themselves a 50% effort versus somebody who has like 70% good tech, like 30% of the technique's kind of shit. Like there's a few things they could fix, but they're pushing themselves really hard. Guess what? The person pushed themselves really, really hard is going to make more progress than the person who is perfectly sound with their technique. And Jesse, we've got you barbell Romanian deadlifts at 165 pounds. I don't know if we reviewed this. I may have sent you this privately. I don't remember. But since we're here, we're going to do it anyways, just in case. So this is a 165 Romanian deadlift. Okay, armpits are down to the hips. Arms are also straight down. They're not out too far or in too far. We want to have perpendicular with that barbell with your arms. So that looks great. Good. Fast on the way up. You can do this faster and harder and more aggressive. Just how you saw Jess do it. That's how I want you to do it, Jesse. Fast on the way up. Fast and hard and powerful. I know it's heavy, but I know that you can also move this weight a little bit faster. That's the only feedback I have for you on this one. Like, use that energy and that tension because you got a great brace. You're feeling this tension right here. This is where you snap those glutes forward hard and fast. Like an elastic band that's stretched out and you let it go. That's the type of intensity that we're going to see there. This is good. You can push yourself even harder. I know that you can on that one. That's good though. Back squat. This is 1 week ago. This was Tuesday the 30th. So we have covered this one. Okay. That is it, everybody. Hope that you got a ton of value out of this. If you're a client, post your biggest takeaway inside the Hinton Nation community. If you're not a client, you're thinking about becoming one, shoot me a message. I'll see if we're a good fit. If we are, we'll have a little call, go over your goals, come up with the game plan for you. And that's it. Take care, everybody. Have an amazing weekend. Peace out.